Hey, welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about Lester Levenson, accepting and allowing and peace and harmony and all of that happy horseshit. There are people who sell courses based on Lester Levenson's work. Probably the biggest, most popular one is the Sedona method. And if you can afford to go to a Sedona release retreat, that's fantastic. That's great. It's absolutely capable of changing your life. It's also capable of fulfilling your need to not change your life, okay? Which is what most people end up actually wanting. They want the happiness and the bliss and the peak experiences, but they don't want the rest of what enlightenment is. Because the rest of what enlightenment is acceptance and allowance. And that means you're going to accept and allow and be at peace with rape, torture, murder, sadness, death, divorce, whatever, okay? And that's just, it's part of enlightenment, man. You can look at it and you can just be like, I accept everything. Everything in the moment is perfect. Because it is. Man, it is. So, Lester Levenson, he figured this out. And he figured this out by going backwards through his life and changing experiences to love, to perfection, to positivity. You know, he was pissed at his doctors. He got sent home to die. And then somewhere along the line, while he was sitting at home, he realized that he wasn't being targeted by the doctors. They weren't doing this deliberately. They didn't hate him or anything. They were doing their best, and they wanted to be able to help. And so he changed his attitude, his memories, his experience. He changed his experience to love. And apparently he just went back and did that through his life and, like, changed. Got his enlightenment and got his woo. And it's really cool. And he could talk about it, and he could share it. His writings are in the public domain, and you should be able to get them on like Amazon Kindle or a Kobo reader or something somehow. You can also order public domain editor versions from Amazon, print on demand for $5-6, whatever. It's worth reading some of it. You know, it's a simple concept. It's a very simple concept. It has turned into some fairly large and expensive programs, which is useful, wonderful. It's great because most people seem to not actually want the enlightenment. They want to play games with the concepts or the peak experiences. But this is it. How to get enlightened. One step. Boom. It's not going to take too long. You just have to be very honest, very committed, and very crazy, I guess. Turn everything to love. Everything, everything, everything. Every grudge you are holding does nothing to the other person. Every grudge you hold, every painful memory that you grasp onto, because you've got to remember that that person is not trustworthy. Every whatever, everything negative, all that stuff with your mom. Everyone's got a mother thing, right? Not everyone. I don't particularly, but a lot of people, my mom, I'm still fighting with my mom in my head. Okay? Let it, can't say let it go, because that's just, people won't do that. Let it turn to love. Take that worst moment, that most drastic thing, that most horrible thing, or the complete sense of things, all of those years of neglect, or intimidation or whatever. Take all of that, bundle it up, and really go through it. You're going to cry. You're going to get mad. You're going to give up. You're going to have moments where it's just not working. And that's okay. It's part of the process, right? It's cool. Relax. Chill. Let it all go. Let it all change to love. Let it all go to love. Okay? Change it. No matter how evil you think it is, change it to love. There's a barrier there. There's a really big barrier there. You're going to look at this thing where your father woke you up in the middle of the night and just beat the shit out of you. Happened to me, okay? The story if you want a story and a narrative, there was a tool in the back, behind the seat of a pickup truck, and the pickup truck had pipe in it, and I was told to unload the pipe and put it in the garage, which apparently I did not do in a sufficiently whatever fashion. Like, I just put it in the garage it was a straight pile, but it was a pile. I guess I didn't sort them, or I don't even know. Something was wrong with the pipe, but apparently there was a tool that had been purchased, and it was an expensive tool. I guess an air hammer nailer or something. I don't remember. I don't even know what tool is, right? And it was placed behind the seat in the truck, and I didn't know it was there, but I woke up, and man, my father beat the shit out of me. He was literally kicking me, side kicking me, like judo, martial arts, well, karate in his case, side kicking me out of the bed onto the floor. Like, it was kind of a shitty situation, right? Love. It's a hard one to turn into love, but man, he was so scared. He couldn't afford to replace that thing. He didn't know, he hadn't told me about it. You know, he got back, and he was just scared, and he was stressed out because of, you know, he was about to lose a house or something. I don't know. You can manufacture the facts, because nothing in your memory is objective reality. Nothing is objective reality. Trust me on this one. You just make it love, you know? Make it love. It's not, I'm not excusing him. I'm not saying that I would trust him with my kids. You know, I'm not doing any of that, right? Just change it to love. Change it to love. I love that it happened. I love what it taught me. I love the memory. I love that bed. That bed was so awesome. And that bedroom and that bed, it was a very comfortable space. It was pretty neat, you know. It was the bedroom that I had my first serial dream in, too, when I was like 5 years old. That's pretty cool, you know. The whole thing, change it all to love, you know. I survived. I managed to adapt to getting kicked in the middle of the night with like the proper cover. I fell properly. I rolled. Everything was great. Like, I love. It was a perfect experience. Perfect. You got to be able to do that. If you can do that, pop. You're going to be on the other side. You are going to get your enlightenment. You're going to be able to experience the perfect experience of the most horrible things. And it's great. You're going to be able to accept and allow the most perfect experience of the most wonderful things. Most people refuse to allow themselves the experience of wonderful things because everyone's deny, control. Accept and allow, accept and allow, accept and allow. Now, to accept something doesn't mean you've surrendered to it. It doesn't mean that you can't act. It doesn't mean that you can't live your life. It doesn't mean that you don't have an alignment of your body and your soul to work, to enact. It doesn't mean that you can't put forth the maximum effort and defeat your foe. Fuck, man, defeat your foe. Do it. It means that you have accepted the reality. Whatever reality you're experiencing, you accept it. Accept it as it is. And then you can change it if you need to, or you can not change it, or the universe will work with you. I don't know, man. It goes so many ways. But accept it. And now, the next thing, you have to allow it. You have to not put up your mental fist and be like, this is not allowed. Shall not pass. Allow. Allow. You can change it if you accept it and allow it. If you need to change it, that's fine. I have no problems with that. I'm not saying don't change it. I'm just saying accept and allow. So in the moment, you're accepting things with love. Remind yourself love. Allow things with love. It's great. Okay? You know, for the past, because a lot of people really have a lot of shit with their past. I have a lot less than most people, and there are some reasons for that. One of them is that I'm just crazy and in a weird spot of enlightenment to begin with. Like, past is kind of unreal. But also, I've done some of this work, and I've looked and I've accepted, and I've got this tendency to look at the past and be like, hey, you know what? It's not now. It might inform now, but it's not now. And life is now. Now. So, that's, you know, that's the thing. A lot of people are really sucked up into their past, and change that to love. Change it to love. Make it positive. Your mind, the thing that's operating inside your brain, which is an organ of your body. Actually, the mind is in the whole body, but whatever. That's going to rehabituate to a different way of looking at things. The framework changes, the circuitry, the literal physical circuitry in your brain changes, your hormones change, everything changes. Change it to love, everything changes. And then the experience of enlightenment, like your soul's enlightened. Don't buy into any weird Buddhist original sin myth about how you've got 15 lifetimes before you can get off the wheel of horror, or whatever the fuck original sin bullshit they have this week. Like, there's always some new explanation of why it's not really original sin and how it's actually better. Whatever, don't care. Get off that. Your soul is already enlightened. The core of you is already enlightened. You're a perfect, beautiful, wonderful, universal, eternal being, and that's fine. Everything's cool. The experience of enlightenment, as you walk around in this body and in this lifetime, is made easier, more accessible, whatever, by changing the circuitry in your mind and your body. Like, changing, that's what the practices are for, is to allow you to contact yourself, more or less. It's one way to put it anyway. So that's the thing. You change everything to love. You change the stuff in the mind. The stuff in the mind, the contents, the memories, but also the circuitry and the tendency. You start to experience events with love. You start to experience events with positivity. And then, for whatever reason, and it happens, the experiences themselves tend to be objectively more positive. Okay? That's awesome. And that's the thing. And it's one of the things that's very simple. Very few people can do this alone. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's maybe because we don't have enough time alone. Maybe because we really are biologically communal creatures. Very few people can do this alone. Most people need someone to talk to. Okay, that's why people like me exist. I'm one of those donation type people. Like, I will sit on the phone with you or on a video chat for a couple hours. You give me a donation. I don't care what, whatever. I need money to live, but I don't need, like, to make you broke, you know? And we talk through it, and we go through it, and we work through the resistances. And I acknowledge and accept and support that there is a reason why your mother was the evilest bitch on the planet. And then we go through that and pass that and still change things to love. We walk through it, we get the charge off of it, we get the negativity levels down, and then we get to the point where you can change it to love. Might take more than a couple hours. Might take 10 years. Still faster than most other methods, and usually, I don't know, if this one's going to work for you, it'll work in a couple months. If it's not going to work for you for enlightenment, it's still going to change the circuitry in your brain and make the enlightenment experience easier to access, whichever way it happens to come. You know, it might be unprovoked happiness. It might be some other tool, right? For me, it was actually doing group noting exercises. And it wasn't even an actual live group noting exercise. It was a practice session. Just blew me right out. Nonverbal. Completely crazy. Awesome. But the love technique probably helped prime my circuitry for that, right? This whole idea of changing things to love. And it really does work. And it's really, really a key element to knowing where you're at. Can you do that? Can you accept that? What is the hold that the past has on you? Because you got to get out of that. Okay? It's not that you have to get out of it. You have to process through it. You just have to be not in it. You don't have to process it. You don't have to make it right. You don't have to count tokens and do things and build pot. That's a Virginia satire term, not a marijuana term. And you don't have to do these things. You just have to not be stuck in the past traumas. Love, 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 love. And, you know, if you can do that, if you can do the release, the accept and allow without going through every past memory, that's fine. I actually did a lot of the memory work after the Enlightenment just to help my system, that's the mind and the body, deal with past events. And, you know, it's kind of cool. It's chill. It helps break some habits that the mind has and makes enlightenment better. But, you know, you don't have to do that. You just have to not be dragged down in your past. Nonetheless, the love techniques work fantastically. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. You know, there's a bunch of stuff to deal with. There's a lot of questions. I talk about environmentalism on occasion because I feel like it's one of those things that really takes away from the Enlightenment community. Like the idea, getting enlightened, everything gets so bound up in everybody's missions, statements, problems, the things that they want other people to care about, their goals, their manipulations, what other people are to them, all of that. Environmentalism is one of those things. The environment's going to be fine, guys. Yes, you can help it. Yes, you can help other people learn to help it. And that's totally cool. You can't have an existential pain over it. You can't build up mental masses over it. You can't decide that you're going to not be in enlightenment because of it. You can't be upset over it. You have to accept and allow in order to change. Okay? 95% of people don't want to do that. Just again and again and again, I'm going to remind you, 97% of people don't want to do that. They don't want to go through that. But if you're accepting and allowing, then you're going to accept and allow the way things are. Then you can change them. You change them by changing them, not by making other people important so that they can be villains or targets. You change things by changing them. Okay? Basic stuff. You go through the love. Love, 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 love. You have to be able to love Klaus Schwab, right? But you do. You have to be able to love Klaus Schwab. You have to be able to love Donald Trump if you're on the tribe that thinks that Donald Trump is the existential threat of Satan in Buddhism terms, or whatever the fuck. I don't care. Like, whatever the heck it is you think it is going on. You have to be able to love. Love, love, love. It's easier to deal with past memories. It's a good training ground because none of that's real. You know, looking across the intersection at the guy who cut you off and saying, love. It's actually harder than going back and having love in the experience of your mother beating the shit out of you for no reason. Because that's in the past. You know, that guy at the intersection, he's right there. But you got to train yourself. Get it up. The love technique will work. You can do it. If you have any questions, contact me. Just, like, it's free stuff. The stuff is out there. It's not easy. It is easy. It's not always easy. It is practical. It is practicable. And it's doable, you know? That's it. I'll talk about another technique in another video. Stay sideways.